here from Overlook Horizon. Let's land on Mars today, eh? I'm excited for this. If you can tell, I got the pump up jams going. I am pumped. I love seeing rovers land on Mars. This is going to be exciting. I wish we had this more often, but obviously only happens, every 2 years we get an opportunity to send rovers to Mars. So this is the Perseverance rover, the Mars 2020 mission. Today is February 18th, 2021. It's about, 1:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in case you're watching the replay, but this is go time now. We've got some time, all right? It's about 2 hours until landing, so don't be, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves yet, but can't contain myself. I've been nervous all day. I feel like I'm just antsy. I'm sitting around. I'm like, I gotta, all right, bring it down. All right, but anyways, so the plan for today, NASA TV is going to go live at about 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is in about 25 minutes from now. That NASA TV will be live. We'll have them up. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what's happening. I'll probably cut in and out and talk a little bit over that because the big landing event is not until 2 hours from now. And really, it's going to come down to the last 16 or so minutes is when stuff starts to happen. That's when we get cruise stage separation. We can see all our events right here. Really, the first event that I have coming up is at T-minus 16 minutes to landing. I guess it would be like L-minus 16 minutes, technically. But so we've got some time to just kind of hang out. We'll go through some of the animations, what's going to happen today, and when we get down to the last 16 minutes, that's when we can all just hold on to it, because there's no chance of scrubs today. It's happening one way or another. The rover's going to Mars. Question is, does it end up in one piece 2 hours and 2 minutes from now? I don't know. I hope so. It's very similar landing system that we had on Curiosity, and we'll go through that in just a minute. We don't have the Spirit landing system, which had the big airbags that would bounce along. That we're not doing that. We've got the Sky Crane, which is what they had for Curiosity. We'll take a peek at that, and I'll show you what's happening. So yeah, there's no scrubs today. It's happening one way or another. But hopefully everything goes nice and smooth, because this has some amazing HD cameras. We're not going to see those live. I believe it's recording them, and then we'll see that after the fact. They're going to upload that with a UHF radio, and then we'll see those after the fact. But we should get some amazing footage of the actual landings. So they have I think it's either 23 or 26 cameras on board the actual rover itself. Can't remember the exact number, but that would be for landing, for sample analysis, the main mass, everything else. There's a bunch of cameras on board, so it's gonna be pretty intense. All right. Anyways, so let's say hi to everybody. Tell me where you're watching from in the chat. I'll grab some comments here before we jump too far into it, because we'll show you some animations I got pulled up here, ready to go. We'll show that in a minute, but I figure we'll see where everybody's watching from, what's happening, who's excited for this, who's pumped, or you just think I'm being silly. That happens too. Whatever. I don't care. Hopefully you're with me. I see, especially if you're here this early. Look at this. They're all flying by. I saw Poland. I see Croatia, New Hampshire, California from B-Dog. I see they're going by too fast now. The Lonely Dragon from Florida. Gershiel from Pennsylvania. Sweden in the house. Holy smokes. Phoenix, Arizona is Carlos. There's no way I'm going to be able to read all these because they're just flying by, but I tried to grab a couple of them. Look at that. Mike Brooks from Colorado. Ryan Ziegler from Illinois. Jesus. We're off to a good start. Illinois. All right. And then I probably should give the Facebook people some love, too. And, of course, our Periscope friends and our Twitch friends as well. Oswego, New York. This is Jennifer. That's right around the corner from me. Oswego, New York. We got a whole bunch of people from the UK, of course, and from Germany. We got it from all over the place. Watching from northern Mexico. It's a big event. And as DW here says, DW, thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate your support on that. DW said, back to Mars, baby. I know, right? This is I am pumped for this. Back to Mars, indeed. I have a super chat, which I think is from Framrick, but I can't see it. Why can't I see this? Get this out of the way. Hold on. I have a message that's blocking my super chats, and I can't see. There was another one. I'll pull it up here in just a second. And then we'll go through. Well, I missed it. Now I lost it here. Floevo. Floevo official became a member. Thanks, Floevo. Floevo? Floevo. But he's official. All right. Well, why don't we go through? We'll take a look at what Percy, it's the Perseverance rover, is going to do today. We've also got, it's kind of a double, we got a double feature today because we're getting the Perseverance rover, and on the underbelly of the Perseverance rover is the Ingenuity helicopter. I think that's probably one of the things I'm most excited about is the Ingenuity helicopter. I really love the idea of flying a helicopter on Mars. It's pretty intense to try to fly a helicopter on Mars. Remember, the atmosphere on Mars, really, really thin, so you can't just throw a quadcopter out there and be like, yeah, we'll just throw a, whatever your favorite brand is, a Mavic Pro or something, and it'll fly, it'll be fine. But you can't do that. You don't get the same lift from the atmosphere that you would here on Earth. So they have two enormous rotors to lift this helicopter. We're not going to see that today, but that has about a 30-day mission. And it's going to fly 5 times in 30 days for 3 minutes each flight. So not a ton of flight time. It's really more of a demonstration mission on the Ingenuity helicopter, and just to try to see if this works. Because if it works, it'd be pretty cool to be able to send helicopters on future rovers, or with crewed missions, to be able to like scout out areas ahead that you don't necessarily have to walk to or drive to. If you could fly something over there, take some photos, bring it back, you know whether or not it's worth it to go over yonder, wherever yonder is. Let's see. Oh, hey, Managard. Thanks for the super chat. Signing in from surprisingly snowy Nashville. Yeah, snowy all over the place here in the U.S., right? Snowy Nashville. It's snowy here too, but I don't know. I'm used to that here in upstate New York. Not a big deal, but obviously, Nashville, Texas, don't get a lot of snow and cold and freezing temperatures in those areas. So if you're affected by that, hopefully you're safe and warm, and hopefully they'll be through all that soon. All right, let's see. All right, I gotta switch music because this is let's get to some chill music. It's probably not that loud, but it's loud in my ears, and need to bring the BPM down, beats per minute on my heart rate here. Mike, my favorite super chatter. Sorry to all the other super chatters. I just love to say Mike. Watching from the Netherlands. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the super chat. Mike. All right, let's take a look. Why don't we go through and we'll see what we're in for here today. Let's see. One of these, is it this one? Do I show you the animation first? No, we'll show you this one first, and then we'll go to the animation here in just a second. No, is that gonna work? No, button doesn't want to work. All right, how about this button? Oh, okay. All right, cool. None of my buttons want to work. That's cool. I told you I had a technical issue before I started. This was the technical issue. For some reason, all my buttons, which I use that's how I switch scenes and do all the kind of stuff, they don't want to. Let's try again. Restarted it. No. Cool. All right, well, that one worked. Okay. Hopefully we'll be all right today. Some of the technical issues. But all right, so this is a relative view of where we are right now. This is the Mars rover is inside this protective shell here. You've got what's called the back shell, which is this white section here. That's where like your parachute is located. That would be like the top of the capsule, so to speak, is the back shell. You've got the heat shield on the bottom. Obviously, that's going to take the brunt of the atmosphere and dissipate all the heat as it's coming in, because it's coming in at tens of thousands of miles per hour. So it is going to come screaming into the atmosphere. And that heat shield is what's going to make sure that it doesn't burn up and break up into a million pieces. So that heat shield is actually going to dissipate like 90% of the energy coming into the atmosphere is with this heat shield. Slows it down a ton. Then we're going to get parachutes. Oh, well, one parachute, supersonic parachute that's going to come out. Parachute it's not real effective on Mars. Remember, thin atmosphere. So it's a huge supersonic parachute. It's still going to be going like I think it's like Mach 1.7 when the parachute deploys. So it's still going really fast, still screaming in. The parachute's going to slow it down a bit. And then inside, the rover's going to drop out. We'll get the descent stage and the sky crane, which is actual rocket engines to land it. We'll see that animation in just a minute. The back section here, this is called the cruise stage. This has some solar panels up on top, some extra... Jeez, my throat didn't want to cooperate there. This has solar panels on the top for some extra power generation. While it's in transit on the way to Mars, that will be jettisoned before it even hits entry interface. Before it hits the atmosphere, they're going to jettison the cruise stage, get rid of that. They don't need it anymore. That will not make it to the surface. You'll also notice, you can kind of see it. Where's our friend Mars here? You'll also notice that it's got a bit of a spin to it. That's intentional. Bit of a spin helps even out some thermal temperatures on the vehicle itself while it's in transit, keeps it kind of stable. So that spin, before they enter the atmosphere, they will null out that spin rate. It's about 2 RPM, 2 revolutions per minute. So it's not a huge spin rate, but there's a little bit of a spin there. They will null that out before they hit entry interface. And then as they come into the atmosphere, it's actually going to do some steering, some thruster steering for a lot of the turbulence and air pockets that you'll hit as it's coming into the atmosphere, because it's not super consistent as you're coming in. So it might hit some air pockets, might have to use some thrusters to try to move around. It almost becomes kind of like an aircraft flying in the atmosphere during that stage. So while the heat shield is slowing it down, it's going to do a little bit of like flying through the atmosphere. It kind of turns into an aircraft. So we've got a whole bunch of excitement here happening today. So we're still an hour and 52 minutes away. You can kind of see out here, you can see obviously we're getting very close to our friendly red planet here. You can see the Mars Odyssey orbiter here, the Mars Reconnaissance orbiter, the Perseverance landing site over there. Let's see, can I go to those? I don't know if I can actually move up to those. That's all right. We're going to keep this here so that we can watch as it's coming in. This is kind of the live view. It's not really so much live because obviously there's no secondary spacecraft that's taking video of this, but this is the live positioning report. And then the exciting one, we're going to turn down our music for this, and we'll turn up the video volume, because these are the landing animations here. We'll even get rid of our events list here. Make sure we got volume up. Do I have volume? There it is. There it is. There's the rover coming in. You can see it in the center there. Cruise stage separation. Screaming into the atmosphere now. Thruster firing. Null out the spin rate. Entry interface. Get some heating here now. This is the part where it's flying, essentially. It's like an aircraft. Just screaming in. A little bit of shake going on. Nice bumpy ride. That's all right. No problem. We got this. It'll do what's called straighten up, fly right. Parachute deploy. Supersonic parachute. Huge supersonic parachute. Slows it down a bit, but not a ton. Thin atmosphere. Parachutes don't work great, but I'm gonna slow it down. heat shield jettison. This point, terrain relative navigation is going to take over. We'll talk about that in a second. Here's the descent stage. Looking for the safe landing spot. Then we're going to get sky crane. The sky crane is going to lower it down. It's about like 6 meters, I think. 6 meters or 20 feet in length. That's what the sky crane is. It's going to bring it down, level off, drop it down. The wheels get deployed right at that point. Drops it, sets it down. Descent stage detaches. That guy flies away. He's just going to go crash somewhere else when he runs out of fuel. See you later. Thanks for your help. And then we'll hopefully be safe on Mars at this point. So, and then hopefully we get some pictures here today relatively quickly. That would be kind of nice. But that's what we're looking at here today. That's the big idea on what we're going to have coming in. Still about a little less than 2 hours here from now. So kind of exciting. It's what they call the 7 minutes of terror, really. And that's from entry interface to landing. Because don't forget, the communication time from Mars back to Earth in the current position is about, I think it's 11 minutes and 22 seconds. So we have 11 minutes of time between when the spacecraft sends a signal and we receive it here on Earth. Which means that when we receive the signal that says entry interface, the rover is already on the ground in one piece or many pieces. We just don't know it yet. So, yeah, there's a bit of a lag time. And that means that the rover and the entire capsule and the sky crane and the descent stage, all that stuff is happening autonomously. There's no human guidance whatsoever because it's not enough time. It takes 11 minutes to get that communication signal over to Mars. So everything's going to happen autonomously today. It's just pretty crazy. That's why they call that the 7 minutes of terror from entry interface to landing. It takes 7 minutes right when you hit the atmosphere to when you touch down on Mars. And that's when everything has to go right. Especially, let's back that up just a second here. So as I'll switch back over to this view here. So as it's coming in here, you're going to get, there's a couple of complicated things here that they don't actually show, which is, it is in my events list here. You'll see things like, we talked about crew stage separation, D-spin. We didn't talk about this mass ejection. There's actually 2 of these events. Mass ejection, where they're going to eject these basically just bulky masses that they don't need anymore for the actual entry and landing. They need some, so the first set of masses is ejected so that they get the right lift ratio as they're going through the atmosphere. That's where it's going to actually do that kind of flying like an aircraft. They need that lift ratio for the vehicle. So they eject this mass here. We'll have entry interface, guidance start, heading align, and then there's another one that's another mass ejection where they're going to eject another couple of masses when they get ready for what's called the straight up and fly right maneuver, which is as it's getting close to basically getting for the touchdown there. So it kind of comes in horizontally first, and then it will straighten out. That's the straighten up and fly right maneuver. And then also we talked about just a second ago what's called, let's bounce forward here a second. We talked about something called the terrain relative navigation system. This is new, which will be activated right about here. Terrain relative navigation. This is something that was not on Curiosity. So this rover is a very close copy of the Curiosity rover. The frame is the same. They have made some changes. There are different experiments on board and things like that, which we'll talk about in a second. The wheels are a little bit different. Bigger wheels. The tread on the wheels is closer together, so it doesn't get stuck in the sand as easily. But a lot of it is very, very similar, and especially the landing system itself. But one thing that's a big difference in the actual landing system is called the terrain relative navigation system, where once the heat shield is jettisoned, they're going to actually take photos of the landing area. They're going to use high and low contrast comparisons to photos taken from orbiters and things like that of the actual landing site. And that way the rover can kind of fine-tune where it's going to land, find a good landing spot that is going to be safe and smooth, and actually touch down on the surface. Makes the landing just a little bit more reliable because it has that terrain relative navigation, the TRN system. So that's a nice little feature, and that's going to happen right after heat shield jettison. A lot of these events happen really, really quickly. And I'm going to try to keep the events list up so that we can see those during the actual landing itself. Because all these things happen real fast. Then you're going to get the descent stage here, which is going to bring us down to the Jezero crater. Jezero. I think it's Jezero. Never know whether to say Jezero or Jezero crater. Which we'll take a look at that in just a second here too. Going to bring it down nice and smooth. You keep the descent stage up high away from the rover so you don't kick up too much dust. Lower it down, that way you don't damage the rover itself. Lower it down, the wheels get deployed. Sets it down, then it breaks free, and away goes the descent stage. So, at what rate will Perseverance rover send data back? Asks Dan Vandevoord over on YouTube. So there are 3 radios on the rover. There is a UHF radio, and then they have a high gain and a low gain antenna. The main UHF radio sends back at 2 megabits per second. So it's not a huge speed, but it's okay. The high gain antenna sends data back at 100 to 500 kilobits per second, I believe. And the low gain antenna is like 10 bits per second. It's like nothing. They use that mostly for receiving data. But yeah, it can transmit data. It's just very, very low bit rate. So 2 megabits per second is the fastest that it can communicate. And that's with the UHF antenna. All right, let's look at the Jezero crater, which is where we're landing here. So I need I was looking for this yesterday and I never went back to pull it up. I was trying to find a full map of Mars. Maybe one of my moderators might be able to find it while I'm talking about that. But I was trying to find a full map of Mars to show where the Jezero crater is in relation to the planet itself. I only have this one here. This doesn't show the whole planet, unfortunately. If I zoom out, it only goes out so far. It does have, interesting, it does have I think this is the rover over here that's like off in space. I don't know why it's there, but anyways. So here's the crater here. Long time ago, they believe that this crater was basically a big giant lake, that there was water there. You can see kind of this what looks like an inlet over here and an outlet over here, this direction. But this inlet over here and what looks like a delta, so you can see if you zoom in here, looks like you got what looks like a river coming in. Oh no, we don't want that one. I want, let's see, this one. No. This one. No. Well, it doesn't matter. So you got what looks like a river here coming in. This would have been like 3.5 billion years ago. Long time ago. This coming in right here, this would be kind of a delta where you get a lot of sediment coming in, settling, things like that you get, potentially life that was here, and maybe some sediment that covered it up, preserved it maybe, and that's what they're going to be checking for, is they're going to check, especially this delta area, looking for life on Mars here. So you've got the river, the delta, and maybe some life in here. They're going to drill into this rock area and hopefully find some life. And then this would have been basically a big giant lake here, and this is kind of the outlet going out of the lake. So that's what they think is going on. There we go. I think one of my moderators just sent me a map. I was looking for this. Let me find Jezero crater. Thank you to whoever sent this to me. Can I find it? No results found. Well, I can't find view Mars with Google Earth. I want that one. All right. Well, I still can't find the crater with it. Let me see if this... So I have... This is Google... Let's see. Let me... We'll put this up here. This is what I'm looking at. Then you guys can see and experiment with me. Can I... This is just going to search Earth. I don't want Earth. I want Mars. Google Earth. Google Earth. Nope. Okay. Well... Oh, there we go. Jeff Pittman has the coordinates. So those, I'm assuming those are the coordinates there, Jeff. Let me see if those work. Hold on, I can't get the chat to stop for a second. Let me try that, Jeff. And let's see. Because I want to show the crater in relation to the rest of the planet. No results found. Why? Why? All right, well, guess we won't mess around with that. I can't pull up. Is this it? No, that's not it right there. Well, we'll keep looking around. We've got some time for that. I'll show you one of the other things here that we've got going on. Here's our live view. Again, we'll switch to this view so that a couple people have asked. Oh, there we go. Nomadic said he posted it in Discord. All right, I'll check it out here, Nomadic. Thank you very much for that. All right, so I'm going to... So just so that for the people that are just joining, just in case, we'll probably do this a couple times, but here's our countdown timer. We've got 1 hour and 38 minutes until we actually have the landing, the touchdown. There's no opportunity to delay. It's happening. In 1 hour and 37 minutes, one way or another, this rover will be on the surface of Mars. In one piece, in lots of pieces. Let's hope it's just one piece. That would be great, but no matter what, it's going to be on the surface in 1 hour and 37 minutes. So again, this is what we're waiting on here. This is basically right now, here's the live positioning. Where's our planet? There it is. This is the live positioning. This is where it is in relation to Mars right now. Got a little bit of a spin to it. That's expected. That'll be nulled out as we get closer, but here it is. We're gonna go through this one more time here. We'll get the D spin, where it's going to basically null out the spin rate. This is that the balance mass is getting ejected. You can kind of see them right there, just heading off into the distance. Nothing huge, but that's before entry interface as it gets close to the planets. And as it gets closer and closer, Mars is going to start pulling it in. It's going to speed up. The gravity of Mars is starting to pull this thing in. So you can actually see the velocity is actually increasing. No, you can't see it because the events list is in the way. Right here, the velocity is actually increasing as it's getting pulled into the atmosphere, and it's not until we get to entry interface when we start to slow down a little bit. So here's where entry interface starts. It's going to come in kind of horizontal like this. We'll get guidance starts. This is where we get some active control. As it's coming in, we've got to make sure that it stays in the correct attitude, the correct orientation, that it's going to hit the landing site. This landing site today is a very narrow corridor. Like they're trying to hit a bullseye here. A lot of times in the past, and a lot of this is thanks to the terrain relative navigation system. But in the past, there would be a margin of error. There's still a little bit of a margin of error, but it's not as big this time around. So this is our margin of error, which is that blue section, which is right directly in the crater. So it can land anywhere in this blue section, and that's what they're going to go for. So the margin of error is pretty small today. And that terrain relative navigation system is what's going to really help out for that. So as we're coming in, we get right here is where we don't have the other mass ejection on this animation, but Oh, it's listed right here in the straight up and fly right. So you'll see something called SUFR, suffer. I don't know what they actually say, if they use the acronym or they just say suffer. But that's the straight up and fly right maneuver. And that's where it's going to actually eject 6 more of the balance masses from the vehicle to help even out the lift ratio that they need. You'll get the parachute deployment. Big, huge parachute here. Bringing it in. Heat shield separation. That'll expose the rover, which is tucked up there nicely in the underbelly. Underneath that's what's called the back shell there. And then it starts coming pretty much straight down at this point. You can see it coming straight down towards the Jezero crater there. Then you're gonna get, this is where the TRN, the what was it? No, I just drew a blank on it. Relative navigation system is going to basically take photos of the actual crater itself, compare those to photos that orbiters have taken to find a safe landing site. Back shell separation, that's when we get the actual descent stage firing. Descent stage is then going to basically fly to that landing site, safe landing site that it has. So it's using a lot of like high contrast photography to try to find a nice smooth landing spot, no big rocks in the way, all that kind of stuff. And whoa, that got loud all of a sudden. Then as it comes down, then you'll get the sky crane going to work, where it's going to drop the rover here on the sky crane, lower it down nice and gentle. Touchdown, severs the cables, descent stage flies away. That's just going to go run out of fuel and crash somewhere. And then our rover is on the ground, and that's when it'll start surface operations. It'll have to deploy the big main mast. It'll take an initial photo, let us know how things are going. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be kind of exciting. So that's what we're in for here today. But right now, the live view, because it's out here. Oh, yeah, there we go. I was like, why is the cruise stage missing? Here's the live view. We've still got an hour and 32 minutes or so here. Here goes my buttons acting up again. Okay. All right. Well, this is... Give me a second here. This is going to drive me crazy today. So we're getting more technical issues. There. Now it works. Okay. Why it didn't want to work the first time, I don't know. It's going to drive me crazy today. All right. Let me check in with you guys. We'll see what's happening, what you guys have to say. And maybe take some questions, and we'll move on from there. So let's see. West Quist. Hope the aliens don't violate the TFR. I don't think there's a TFR filed, so they're free to roam about. They're just gonna get a big surprise when they see a giant fireball in the sky. Brett Bagosi, new member. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate that. Thanks for your support there. Stig Helg Westerheim. Thanks for the super chat. Said, hi, what kind of media can we expect to get from the landing today? Images, video? I guess images after landing should be a given at least. Yeah, I'm expecting images to be the first thing that we see. But there are a lot of cameras on board, and they've already said that they are going to take HD video of the actual landing from on board the rover. We're not going to see that live. It's going to record that, land, transmit it back to us. We'll see that after the fact, the HD landing footage. So there are, I think it's like 23 or 26 cameras on board the rover, somewhere in that neighborhood. A lot of them are for like analysis, instrumentation, things like that. But some of them are going to take HD landing footage, which we'll see sometime after landing. We don't know when. Remember, don't forget that UHF radio only transmits at 2 megabits per second, so it'll take a little bit of time, depending on how big that data file is. But we are expecting HD video afterwards. Chris Stingley became a new member. Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate that. For any of those members that are in the rocket engineer or astronaut tier, make sure you connect your Discord, or connect to Discord, so that you can join us and chat in between all this kind of stuff. You get special access to some of the secret Discord channels if you're a rocket engineer or astronaut. And if you're not, that's cool too. You can still join Discord. Discord is free for anybody in our community that wants to join Space Lobster Nation here. Join our Discord and become friends with us. We want to be friends. Let's be friends. Let's see. Monkey DKS. Thanks for the super chat. Monkey. Thanks for everything, Tori. Go Percy. I love it. I'm right there with you. Go Percy. I'm so nervous about this, which you could tell at the top of the show as I was just bouncing off the walls. Even got a new cup for this for my Gatorade here today. My new Space Cadet NASA glass. I'm gonna feel like I'm being so careful. I don't want to spill it on any of my electronics that you can't see down here. I'm like, but you can't see the NASA logo if I do that. There it is, my new Space Cadet NASA glass. I don't know why it says summer 1996. No idea. It's brand new, just got it. Are you still looking for a map of Mars? Yes, I am. So somebody sent it to me on Discord. I'll take a look here in just a second. But I did want to get to some questions because I've been talking and droning on forever. And I'm sure NASA TV is probably live now. They are. There's not much happening. Do I hear? Oh.
Phase 2.
Phase 2 is go.
We do have stuff happening.
Activity is go. Uplink lead. Go. Systems. Go. EDL com. Go. Telecom 1.
Go.
Telecom 2.
Telecoms go.
GDS 1.
Go.
GDS 2.
Go.
Fault protection.
Go.
Power.
Go.
Avionics.
Go.
Thermal.
Go.
Flight software.
Flight software go.
Data management.
Go.
Propulsion.
Go.
Art lead.
Go.
Team chief.
Go.
Ace.
Go.
Launch cruise phase lead.
Go.
Deputy mission.
Go.
EDL phase lead.
Go.
Mission assurance.
Mission assurances go.
Chief engineer.
Chief is go.
Project manager.
Projects go.
Mission manager. All stations are go for transmitter off.
Copy flight, go for transmitter off.
All right. So I like.
Raquel. We have deemed Perseverance ready to execute entry, descent, and landing on her own.
Thank you, Swati. As we just heard.
All right. So while they're chatting it up, I'm sure we're going to check back in. We'll go back and forth, check with them a little bit. Somebody finally, I don't know who sent me this. Let me see. Can I find the crater? I have the Mars map, but now I can't find. Let's see. That's Insight. That's Curiosity. There's an orbiter, the MRO orbiter. I can't find the crater on this. So I think Anita sent this to me. I was trying to look and see. Obviously, here's the red planet here with some of our current inhabitants, like Insight and Curiosity, which are over here. But I don't know. I don't think I could just find the Jezero crater just by eyesight. Somebody would have to point it out to me. First star on the right, straight on till morning, I think. Odyssey orbiter here, the MRO orbiter. Yeah, I don't know. That's Mars, obviously. There's no search option. Is there a search option? What's down here? No. Free fly, lock camera. No. What's this? That just brightens up the whole planet. Night side and dark side. That's cool. Yeah, I got nothing. All right, well. Check the Discord members channel. Let me check that. From Foxabilo. I'm determined to find this map. I looked forever yesterday. This is from the ESA. Interactive map to explore the Jezero crater. Yeah, that's kind of what I want. Make full screen. Yeah, that'll work. Full screen, full screen. Bounce it over here. Yeah, we just can't go out to... I think I saw this before. Can't go out to, like, planetary level. That's what I'm looking for. I wanted to show you where the crater was in relation to the whole planet. And I can't find a map that does that. But here's the crater, which is kind of nice. It's like an elevation map here. You can see the elevation. Here's our margin of error, this orange circle here. That's where the rover is going to land. And again, we talked about this a few minutes ago, but they believed 3.5 billion years ago that this was full of water. And you have an inlet over here and an outlet over here. This was a big giant lake. And right here is kind of the delta, where you'd have sediment coming in and potentially life and everything else being deposited right in this particular area here. So that's where they're going to start drilling to see if that was in fact a river draining into a lake. You could potentially have life that got trapped in the sediment, buried, preserved, and maybe we can find evidence of life on Mars. May not be active life now, but either way, whether we find active life now, wouldn't that be crazy? Active life, or even just evidence of life sometime in the past, that would be also equally crazy. So that's where we're landing here. I just can't find a map to show you in relation to the rest of the planet. All right, let's see. Will we be able to see footage of Mars today? We should likely see photos today. I don't know how long it will take us to get video. I'm not expecting to see video today, but it would be pretty awesome to see the video today. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm expecting we'll at least see initial photos. Usually that happens pretty quickly after landing because engineers want to know
The orbiters.
if everything's good to go. So
We have performed the voice check and the readiness poll and can confirm that MRO, MAVEN, EDA, Radio Science 1 and 2, UHF, DTE, DSN, and EDL GDS are all ready to support.
Copy, EDLCom.
So we've just heard that we have confirmation from each of the different orbiters and all of their support equipment on the ground that they are ready and are on track to support the relay from Perseverance.
Great, thank you, Swati. And we just heard that communications readiness poll, which means we are ready to relay the data Perseverance will send to get a better idea of what the rover looks like as it approaches Mars. We have a NASA program called EYES. The visualization lets anyone watching track Perseverance. Here's how the program works.
oh, hello. Yep. I don't want their music playing, but this is the EYES program that they were calling. That they were just talking about. That's what I've showed a couple times here today. They were just mentioning the NASA EYES program. If you want to see this in real time, this is what it is. That's what we're looking at here. This is called NASA EYES, and that's going to be a live view. I've got it up twice. I've got this one, and I've got this one, which is a little more detailed because this gives you kind of, if I get the events list out of the way, it kind of tells you what's coming up next, what the next phase is. So this is from NASA EYES. So you can see the rover, the back shell, the heat shield, all that kind of stuff, and also the cruise stage, which is still attached. That will not be detached or jettisoned until about 16 minutes prior to landing. So we've got some time with that. Let me see. So I'm going to go through a couple of questions here before we jump to, or get too far into this. I just said that I was going to do that a minute ago, but watching along with you, Tim. Looking forward to watching with you. Well, I appreciate it. I'm Tori, not Tim, but but I'm glad you're watching with me. Tim is another YouTuber who I love. He's awesome. Curiosity is close to the crater. All right, that's from Iliascu over on Twitch. Take a look at that in just a minute. We go, how tall are those cliffs around the crater that we're looking at? Yeah, if we go back to that elevation map, we can actually see we get an elevation change up at the top, which is about, what did we have? Well, now I'm confused because it almost shows like this is 2,600, but this is 2,300. This is 2,000. I'm confused. This seems backwards to me for being a crater. Is that a negative number? I don't know. It looks like negative 2,000. Maybe that's it. I was like, why are the numbers going up? But so it looks like a drop of about, we got 27 here, and we've got 1,800 up here. So about 900, I'm assuming that's in meters. 900 meter difference between the outer walls and the center of the crater. Who was that for? Chris Robertson. There you go. Hopefully that answers. How does a copter fly? Oh, good question. We've got a video of that. We can show that now. Where's my helicopter? My helicopter video. The Ingenuity. That's my favorite part. I can't believe we got distracted. Where's my Ingenuity? I got so many windows open. Ingenuity helicopter. So the Ingenuity helicopter, in case you're not aware, as I'm pulling it up here, it's going to be the first aircraft ever on another planet, and it is stored on the underbelly of the rover itself. So they're all going to land as one piece together, and then after landing, as they get into surface operations, there's going to be a 30-day campaign. There they are. There's my video. A 30-day flight test campaign to test the Ingenuity helicopter. So the Ingenuity helicopter, again, it's underneath it. It's underneath it and kind of on the side. So when they deploy it, they kind of spin it out. They kind of rotate it out and then drop it. And the rover will then drive away to get away. Remember, this rover is it's like the size of an SUV. The thing is huge. It's hard to get the scale on that, but this thing is like the size of an SUV. So here, do we have volume on this?
Landing on Mars during the pandemic.
I got too many sources of volume. Let me mute this one. Why is this such poor quality too? Let's up the quality on that. And we want this one. So we're gonna test the rotors there. And remember, these are big, huge, giant rotors because the atmosphere really thin on Mars. The rover itself, the Perseverance rover, is actually going to monitor and watch it with the cameras. So it's going to stick around. It's not going too far. But they drop it off. And they're only 3-minute flights. It's going to do 5 3-minute flights. And the thing is loud. Like, this is the audio from, wind tunnel tests here on Earth. So there it goes. It's based, and again, it's just a demonstration. It's gonna go up, it's gonna fly to the side, it's gonna fly back, it's gonna land, it's gonna take some photos along the way. There's cameras on the bottom of the helicopter. Right there, you can kind of see the cameras. Take some photos. Let's get the events list out of there for a minute. It's the buzzsaw. It does kind of sound like a buzzsaw, doesn't it? IMAX says that's bound to wake something up. Well, if there's anything there, it'll be awake now. Then it comes down, and then that's it. And then it lands. And it'll do that 5 times. Oh, and that's the end. So it'll do that 5 times for 3-minute flights. That's it. They're pretty short flights, 3-minute flights, but that's one of my, I'm kind of excited about that. Like an aircraft flying on another planet. How cool would that be? And how useful would that be for like crewed missions in the future, or even rover missions? If you could fly around, you could get so much further. It'd be fantastic. Do you really think there's something there? I don't think we're gonna see like little green aliens walking around being like, what's that flying around? But I seem to think that we could find evidence of life on Mars. I know, Perseverance is kind of exciting because this will be the first real opportunity that this thing will, not real opportunity. It'll be a very good opportunity to try to detect evidence of life at some point on Mars, especially because it's going to be drilling into the rock of that basically river delta there where the sediment could possibly be. It'll be going to be kind of exciting. All right, let's see. Here's our NASA TV stream. Why does it keep defaulting back to low quality? Let me up that quality again. So once they start showing stuff, I'll pull them back up on the screen. But until then, we'll probably just stay here with this particular view because we still got an hour and 12 minutes. The real exciting stuff doesn't happen until about 16 minutes prior to touchdown. Entry interface, 7 minutes prior. That's the beginning of the 7 minutes of terror. Yeah, there you go. Noel Richard over on Periscope says microorganism fossils. Yeah, that's kind of what I think they could potentially find. Something like that. Is the drone auto-flying or is there an actual pilot? It's automatic. Remember, it takes 11 minutes and 22 seconds to communicate with Mars in its current position. Sometimes it can be up to 20 minutes to communicate with Mars. So you can't have a pilot. The lag time is ridiculous. Imagine trying to play a video game with 11-minute lag time. You have no chance. So no pilot controlling it. It's completely autonomous. Just like the rover and the landing process, everything is autonomous because the lag time is just enormous. And then I saw somebody else asked about the helicopter. Oh, what did I see? I can't remember what the question was, but I remember seeing a question about the helicopter that said, somebody asked if it was battery powered, which the answer is yes. I don't remember who asked it, but yes, inside that little box underneath the rotors is like the computer and batteries and things like that. How long until it lands? 1 hour and 11 minutes. It's up in the top left corner. Would tardigrades be considered finding life? Sure, yeah. Any cellular organism that's living would be considered life. I hope it's not Martian mosquito mating season when that thing flies. It does make quite the sound. There are some, I can show you another video that of the helicopter here too here, let's pull that up here. While I read through some comments here, we'll give you another. Let's see, let's turn the volume up.
Sometimes you have to do something.
Oh, there's music. I can't do it because there's music there, which I don't have the rights to. But this will show this. It's going through. It's basically here's the. Yeah, they have music, so I can't show. But this is basically all the testing that they did on the helicopter, which they had. Trying to test this helicopter on Earth is no easy feat either, because remember, like, the atmosphere on Mars is not the same as it is on Earth. So you've got such a much thinner atmosphere on Mars that, like, you have to test it in a vacuum chamber, essentially, that's not complete vacuum, but, you know, less atmosphere than Earth, and trying to test whether or not the rotors can generate lift in that sort of environment. I mean, it's a complicated process. You can see some of the tests here where it's bouncing around, it's tethered to the ground so it doesn't get too far out of control. It's kind of crazy. So, all right, let me get the chat back up here. I was going to turn this volume up, but they're still playing music. I wish they wouldn't do that, because then I could let you hear what they're saying. How will humans survive that long of a journey in case the trip to Mars becomes possible? It's definitely going to... I mean, that is a complicated thing, trying to survive for that long. But, I mean, that's one of the things that we've been testing on these long-duration missions with, like, the International Space Station. There's a reason why astronauts have been staying 6 months to a year on the International Space Station, and that's to test things like this. Can humans live in a confined, enclosed space for up to a year without losing their minds? You know, that's one of the things that NASA's been testing for years now with the International Space Station. What do you think of the booster in the last SpaceX landing? Yeah, it's a shame that they lost that booster. We'll probably talk about boosters in the next SpaceX one today. We're probably going to limit this to kind of the NASA stuff today. We need fish tanks on Starship? I don't know what that means. Is it more or less a simple drone? Yeah, so the helicopter, yeah, pretty much. The helicopter itself is it's a pretty simple drone, but those rotors are huge. When they show the helicopter again, especially when they show it with humans around, those rotors are huge. It's not like a tiny little quadcopter like this guy here with these little tiny propellers that can fit in my hand. The rotors are much, much larger, and they have to spin much faster. They're spinning like, I want to say they're spinning at like 26 or 2700 RPMs. But they spin very, very fast. 2400 RPMs. I was close. And they're counter rotating, and that's how they can control kind of directions and things like that. They're counter rotating, so they spin in opposite directions, those two rotors. But yeah, they're spinning at 2400 RPMs, which is really fast. If you think of, like, I think a helicopter RPM is only like 500 RPMs. So it's the rotors on that Ingenuity helicopter have to spin 5 times faster than like your average helicopter here on Earth. Much, much faster. Let's see. Cleaning the solar panels. Any mention of steps taken on this second try? I don't think there's any active cleaning for the solar panels. I wonder why they decided on that rotor design instead of a quadcopter design. I think it more comes down to the size, because you need such huge rotors that if you wanted to do a quadcopter design, you would need a huge helicopter base or drone or platform basically to fit enormous rotors on it. So it came down to size and weight. So this is going to be lighter than having 4 rotors because the rotors have to be so huge. So size and weight is really the main reason why they went with this design here. Does the copter solar charge? I don't know. The lifespan is pretty short for the quadcopter. I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure if it actually has solar panels on it to charge the batteries. I want to say yes, because it's a 30-day launch campaign for the helicopter itself. It's 5 flights, 30 days, 3 minutes each. So I think it does have solar panels. I want to say that I read that, but not 100% sure. Noodlehead. Canoodlehead. Hi there. Thanks for the super chat. He says, hi there. Question is JSC affected by the Texas power outages? Thanks for keeping us posted. You know, I didn't even think of that. I imagine JSC, because of how critical they are, has some backup generators. But I'm sure the area is probably affected, but I'm sure that they have backup generators for critical components. But remember, this is JPL, not JSC today. So this is going to be mostly controlled. Mission control today is at JPL in California. So I don't think it's a big effect here for today's stuff, but interesting whether the Johnson Space Center is affected. I imagine they are, but they've got to have some sort of backup generators going for, just to continue to conduct human spaceflight operations with, like, the International Space Station. Does the rover leave behind the helicopter? Yes. Yep, the rover will drop the helicopter off its belly, so it's tucked up underneath the belly and kind of sideways. It has to rotate out and then drop it, and then it drives away, leaves the helicopter there, and it doesn't pick it up again. So it'll do its launch campaign for 30 days, the 5 flights, and then the rover will move on and continue. The rover is supposed to last about 3 years. That's its mission lifespan, is about 3 years. But if it's anything like in previous missions, hopefully it's extended much longer than that, but it's intended to make it for 3 years. How long will the rover... Oh, there you go. I just answered that. How long will the rover stay alive for? Yeah, 3 years is the intended mission, but if we could get, 7, 8 years out of it, that would be fantastic. But it's really it only needs to last for 3 years. Will the helicopter get a mission extension to assist the rover further if it outperforms expectations? I don't think so. Like, maybe they might try to squeeze in an extra flight, but it's really a demonstration platform. It doesn't have a ton of instruments on it to help out with much. So I don't think it, and really the rover has to be, the rover can't do its mission if the helicopter is doing its mission. Like, the rover has to be there to take photos of the helicopter. So I think the rover's going to stick around for 30 days, let the helicopter do its thing. When it's done, the rover's going to say, see ya, and then it's going to leave. What will happen when the rover dies? Well, then it becomes a statue, a memorial. Is it nuclear powered? Yes, it is a nuclear powered rover. It also has lithium ion batteries on it, so it's not 100% nuclear powered, but its majority is nuclear powered. The lithium ion batteries are to supplement that in case it has a higher power draw. Why is the capsule spinning? It's mostly for heat regulation and stabilization, but yeah, it's basically like a barbecue roll to keep one side of the spacecraft from heating up too much or cooling down too much. Are the photos that the rover takes in HD going to look like a photo I've taken with my phone? I don't know what the camera looks like. They're supposed to be much, much better than the Curiosity rover. So much better cameras, much better video, much higher quality. I mean, you got to remember, like, these were developed a few years ago. So the rover is always going to be a few years behind, like, what's coming out now. But they're also spending a lot more, a few years ago. So it might be similar to, what you would see on your phone. But all right, we're coming up on 1 hour now. Here's our timeline. We are 1 hour away from touchdown. This is coming down to it now. We're going to switch over here down to the 59-minute mark. The big events are going to start happening at about 16, 17 minutes. I think I have the cruise stage separation scheduled for T-minus 1650. And the T is counting down to touchdown. So that's where we're going. That's the plan. So 16, 17 minutes is when things are going to really start to pick up. If we want to take a look, we'll go back now. Everybody's saying they're having an issue with NASA eyes. I hope that I don't really want to refresh my NASA eyes for an updated view if it's being overloaded or something like that. So I'm gonna leave it. But yeah, we're under an hour now. First major event coming up is cruise stage separation. That's that big section of solar panels here on the back that's going to be jettisoned. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen until, like I said, 16, 17 minutes prior to touchdown, which is about 10 minutes prior to entry interface. Entry interface is about 7 minutes prior to touchdown. That's the beginning of the 7 minutes of terror. So that's where we're at here. Are you counting down to actual touchdown or when we receive data back from touchdown? Yeah, so that's a good question because I was trying to figure out what to do. So the countdown is actually counting down to when we will know that it touched down. So the actual touchdown will be 11 minutes and 22 seconds prior to this, but we just won't know about it. So this timer is counting down to when we should receive signal that touchdown has happened. So it's basically going to follow along with like the NASA broadcast because that's when NASA will be able to declare touchdown is when this hits 0, roughly. I don't know. They said 3:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's counting right down to 3:55, but we don't know if it's 3:55 in a couple of seconds or, what the exact timeline is here, or, it's down to the second at least. They were showing a cool graphic for a minute, which I was going to show you, but it's gone now. Why will the rover need to take samples? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, they're trying to find life. That's the main goal here. Trying to find life. There's a couple other. We should talk about. Let me pull up my other graphic. I got a couple of graphics that we can pull up here. Let's see. We could throw this one up here for just a minute. I'll let you take a look at this one here. Why is this not? There we go. Get the events list out of the way. Does it stay in space? Does what stay in space? You're talking the cruise stage? The cruise stage will re-enter. It's just not going to make it to the ground. Going to burn up in the atmosphere. Let's see. All right, so I was going to talk about some of the science on board, like the MOXIE experiment. That's kind of a cool thing that the rover is going to do. Oh, I didn't remember what we were talking about. Somebody asked why it was taking samples. So it's mostly taking samples to see if we can discover life. But it's also, one of the things that it's doing, it has a whole bunch of sample collection tubes that it's going to collect samples, store them, and then drop them in strategic locations, potentially for another mission to Mars that can pick them up and return them back to us, which would be kind of cool. It's a little bit confusing because I don't fully understand the premise here on this. I mean, I understand the premise of a sample returned back from Mars, but the problem is, here, we'll do that. I'll give you this one here so you can see the sample collection animation here. This is what we want. Sample collection animation. So we can see this here to answer the question at least. But it's collecting a bunch of samples, will well, they kind of called it like rover poop, essentially. It's going to collect a whole bunch of samples and then drop them in strategic locations for a potential future mission to do a sample return. The confusing thing, though, is the earliest that we could potentially see that sample return based on, you know, what's being developed right now is not until like the mid-2030s. And so I guess the question is it really worth it? Because we could be sending humans there that we don't need a sample return. They could just evaluate it right there in person, hopefully. That would be kind of nice, but we don't know. But I guess the other nice thing, though, about generating these samples and storing them is that then you will have samples collected before any humans ever arrived. So if you ever had any sort of contamination or things like that, if we're trying to discover life, we want to make sure it's life that's actually from Mars and not life that we brought to Mars, right? So this is the sample collection here. It stores them also in the belly there. It has a whole bunch of sample collection areas that they can here, put myself up here so that I'm out of the way if you want to read that. But it's measuring it, going to move it to storage, and then at some point it will drop them somewhere. Curiosity had a solid landing. Why don't they just replicate it? They pretty much are replicating it. This is almost the exact same landing sequence as Curiosity. So Curiosity did have a very solid landing sequence. This is almost the same. The only thing that's different, actually, or at least the main thing that's different, is that they now have that terrain relative navigation system that can take photos and evaluate the landing sites to have an even safer landing than maybe Curiosity had. That's one of the improvements that they made from Curiosity, but the landing sequence is almost the same as Curiosity's landing sequence. Let's see. So the other thing I want to talk about is the Moxie experiment. That's pretty cool. The Moxie experiment. Let's see if we can show some imagery from that. But the Moxie experiment is basically going to try to create oxygen from the Martian environment, which is pretty cool as well. Let's see, where are we on here? No. All right, they're still talking. Nothing much to see yet, but the Moxie experiment. Let's see, we've got some videos of Moxie. Do we have Moxie videos? But the Moxie experiment is going to make oxygen on Mars. That could be useful for humans. Obviously, they're going to need some oxygen if we get humans to the surface of Mars, but also if we ever wanted to send things back, whether it's samples or humans, they're going to need some oxygen for their engines. Remember, we bring liquid oxygen on our rockets, so they're going to need some oxygen as well. So that Moxie experiment is super important. Oh.
Hi, I'm Raquel Villanueva with the news team here at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
I don't know why this is a vertical video, but all right.
Right now, there is an exciting project happening right here that could one day.
System. And I want a stack that looks very much.
Here we
go.
It does make cool sounds, although it's a little annoying, so we're not going to run it right now.
All right, I'm not going to show that one. I'm going to show a different. That's not the one that I wanted. There's a different one here that I thought maybe it's this one here. No, that's not the one either. But I was looking for a video of the Moxie experiment, but yeah, essentially it's pulling. I mean, remember, the Martian atmosphere is mostly, here you go, mostly carbon dioxide, as opposed to here on Earth, our atmosphere is mostly nitrogen with like 21 or 22% oxygen. On Mars, it's almost all carbon dioxide. Where was that? Where did they show that graph? There it is, right there. So 95% carbon dioxide, oh, of course. 95% carbon dioxide, 2%, what is that, argon, 2% or 2% nitrogen, 0.14% oxygen, and 0.06% carbon monoxide. But mostly carbon dioxide, so I'm going to try to generate some oxygen from it with the MOXIE experiment, which will be it's going to be a necessary thing, is some oxygen, right? All right, let's go back to our live view here of where we stand. Iliascu says they also took photos during the Curiosity landing. They just didn't use them for the landing process. Yeah, there were, I mean, they did have photos and videos from the actual landing. It just, yeah, it wasn't the actual terrain relative navigation system where they're taking photos and then analyzing those photos compared to orbiter photos of the landing site and trying to use high contrast photography to find a safe landing site. That's the idea of the terrain relative navigation system. NASA Live is looking at the rover model. Oh yeah, there you go. Let's see. Oh, I got no volume. How come? Maybe I turn the volume off.
Samples about the size of a piece of chalk that then eventually will be stored inside of the vehicle and dropped off in a later location so that an eventual mission can go and return these samples to Earth, something we've never done in the past. Here in the front, we have the remote sensing mast.
Look at that. You notice how big it is. It's huge.
This mechanism is going to be stowed upon the touchdown on the surface of Mars. And one of the first critical activities we do is deploy this mechanism. This mechanism includes several cameras that are going to give us some of the most breathtaking images we've ever taken on Mars. Along with that, we have some lasers as well as a spectrometer. They're going to allow us to do some remote science. Here you see some of these extrusions that are part of the larger weather suite of instruments that will allow us to characterize the local climate around Perseverance. So that's a quick tour of the rover, but I gotta get back to work. So back to you.
Oh, all right. I got music playing. We don't want that. Average temperature on the surface of Mars is negative 64 Fahrenheit, negative 53 Celsius. Very cold on Mars. Not the ideal temperature. I'm cold here. It's only 20 degrees Fahrenheit here where I am, and I'm cold. I don't want negative 64 Fahrenheit. Is that the real size? Yeah, that is the size of the rover. So the rover is the size of a small SUV. It's a huge rover. A lot of people forget the scale of the actual rover. It is very, very big. So yeah, that is a full-scale replica of the rover that he was showing there. It is a big, it's a big guy. All right, let me see. Oh, I wanted to see if somebody else tried to send me a map because I still couldn't find that planetary map. Let's go back to that. A couple people, in case you didn't know, if you want to consider joining our Discord channel, I know there's a bunch of people here, but our Discord is free. Join it, hang out with us, chat it up, become friends with all our people, and our lovely moderator, Anita, is running Percy Landing Map Bingo over on our Discord. So if you want to drive Anita crazy, sorry Anita, join our Discord. You can play Percy Landing Map Bingo with Anita. Anita's probably going to kill me for announcing that to 3,000 people here live on the stream, but we're all friends here. We're having fun. But you got to join the Discord if you want to do that. And our friendly friend Nightbot will give you a link to Discord if you type !Discord, but obviously only one person should do that, not everybody. All right, so let's go through This was kind of, we did this a while ago, but for anybody that missed it, at the beginning, we're landing at the Jezero crater here today. 3.5 billion years ago, they believe this was a lake with an inlet river and outlet rivers, or an outlet river, and this delta section, which they're going to explore and drill into, and hopefully, or maybe, find signs of life. Wouldn't that be interesting? I wanted to show. I want to show my animation of the landing again. So let's restart this. And let's listen into
the samples that
oh, we gotta mute the other. Let's mute this stream. We'll go to this one and unmute this one so we can watch what's going to take place in about a half an hour from now. It's gonna be a bit loud. There's our capsule coming right at you. First thing that happens is cruise stage separation. That's the big solar panels that we don't need anymore. It'll do a D-spin to null out that 2 RPM spin rate. The barbecue roll doesn't need that anymore. Entry interface, the heat shield going to take away 90%, more than 90% of the energy and speed as the capsule and rover are coming into the Martian atmosphere. A little bit of, they'll be using some thrusters to make sure it keeps good attitude, keeps good control. Eventually it's going to do straight up and fly right and deploy parachutes. Or a parachute. Supersonic parachute gets deployed at about 1.7, Mach 1.7, so still going crazy fast. Martian atmosphere pretty thin, so parachutes don't work super great. Heat shield jettison. Now the terrain relative navigation system kicks in, taking photos, looking for a safe landing spot, evaluating the landing site. Drops the descent stage and the rover, the engines kick in, locks onto that safe landing site. Descent stage gonna bring it over there. Gonna slow it down to a nice soft and gentle landing speed. And it'll lower it down on the sky crane, deploy the wheels, set it down, cut the cables, descent stage flies away. When it runs out of fuel, it'll crash somewhere. Don't need that anymore. Just gonna go crash somewhere on the planet. And then our rover will be there. One of the first things that gets deployed on the rover is that big camera mast. It'll stand right up, take some of the first initial photos. And that's what's going to take. We got an abbreviated version here in this one, but it's going to take about 7 minutes. 7 minutes from entry interface to landing. It's about 17 minutes from our first event until landing. But yeah, then it'll be kind of lonely out there.
Pep-talk, I guess, to the team. All right. You know, I'm terrible at pep-talks. I think my reputation precedes me there. And
Pep-talk time.
Look, I know this hasn't been easy, right? I'm not even sure we've even been all in the same room at the same time. I mean, I'm staring at folks across the internet as well. Even now, right? Only. Yeah. Voice check. Okay. I do want to just extend my heartfelt appreciation from the EDL team to the launch cruise team. You've done everything we've asked for, right? I mean, you've battled anomalies, you've dealt with Cephis, you've done everything. You delivered a healthy spacecraft to the place that we want to go, and she's right on target, right? You did the last maneuver literally 2 months ago, right? This is pretty incredible, in my opinion. And she's armed with the right information to help us land. Doing the parameter update last night, we're ready to roll. You've done everything right. And you've put up with us too, right? You've put up with our eccentricities and the things we like to do in EDL land. So I very much appreciate that. So you all should sleep in on Friday, since You guys have earned it. Thanks for literally and figuratively putting us in the right position to succeed. And let's land on Mars together.
Copy EDL phase. And as flight director, I also would like to thank the whole team, cruise ops, EDL ops, EDL team, and the surface ops as well. It's been an amazing journey. I think we all know that. And it's been my honor and pleasure to work with you all side by side. And your tireless efforts and endurance in the face of our challenges has been truly, truly inspiring. So kudos to you. Mission, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just echoing the same words that Al and Magdi have mentioned. You guys have overcome great obstacles in the last 6.5 months, and it started with an earthquake in this room on launch day at L-20 minutes. So I can't be more proud than all of the achievements that you guys have pulled off in the last 6.5 months. Whatever happens in the next hour and a half, you can be proud of the achievements that you've accomplished so far. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, and I only wish that the rest of our team could be sharing this moment with us. This is a very unusual event. This room is only half as full as it would be if we weren't in this pandemic. So missing everybody on the team who's not with us here today. And go EDL.
Welcome to the EDL family.
And with that, Godspeed Perseverance. All right, activity.
All right.
Go ahead and continue the report.
Sure thing, Flight. We've since completed the EDL start anchor. As I was mentioning, we changed our CBM row to EDL reserve two-way non-coherent. That row reinforces our CBM windows disabled, keeps our packetization on, it turns off our ranging and switches to the auxiliary oscillator. We have also started our real-time data product and reinforced Medley on. At this time,
we just heard Perseverance team leader.
All right, so we got a little bit of a pep talk there. I figured I'd show, because I saw Nomadic mention information about the Deep Space Network. So right now, looks like Madrid and U.S. Goldstone both have locks on Perseverance, the signal coming down from Perseverance. So we've got a round trip light time of 22.67 minutes. Remember, that's round trip, not one way. And so 22 minutes round trip to send something to the spacecraft and back. That's why there's no active control during entry, descent, and landing, or EDL. You'll hear that term a lot today. EDL stands for entry, descent, and landing. That's the phase that we're going into today, EDL. But we've got two satellites essentially locked on here. We've got, or two ground stations, I should say, locked onto the signal. That's Deep Space Network 63 and 14 receiving the signal here. That's how we're getting all this data. As we're getting prepared here. Is it streaming from Mars? It's very close. So our current position here, this is our current position. We're coming into it here now. We're 36 minutes away from touchdown. 36 minutes away from touchdown. And the first events, that cruise stage separation is at about 17 minutes. So we're only less than 20 minutes away from the major events starting now. Ronald Peng, weird, it takes 8 minutes for light to reach Earth from the sun, but one-way light speed comms with Mars takes 11 minutes. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't know what the light time is from the sun to Earth off the top of my head, but yeah, it's 11 minutes. 11 minutes here. Also, don't forget, like, we're not in. Let me see if I can pull up the net. I wonder if we're not in like perfect alignment. A lot of people think of the solar system like all the planets are aligned like in a straight line. we are not in a straight line here. So here it is. Here's the map that I wanted to pull up here. So we're not in a straight line. Like light from the sun to Earth would travel like this, but to get from Earth to Mars is traveling like this here. So a lot of people think like that the planets are just like it's because we see solar system models. Like if you were going to look at the 8 planets, sorry Pluto, the 8 planets of the solar system, everybody's going to fight me in the comments about whether Pluto's a planet. Tell me in the comments, is Pluto a planet? I want you to say, let's see, how do we want to do this? I want to say, just say planet or not a planet in the comments. Is Pluto a planet? Let's start a war in the comments. Anyway, so while you're, yeah, there it is. now it's coming in. Pluto, a bunch of no's, a couple of yeses. Some saying yes, it's a dwarf planet. Yes, no, planet, not a planet, not. I knew it. Pluto is a planet. I don't know. Pluto always has a special place in my heart. I don't know why. I love Pluto. Twitch, planets, Facebook, not a planet, planet. I bet if we took a poll, we don't have a poll. I don't have a poll set up, but I bet if we took a poll, it'd be very close. Hard to tell in the comments section, but I bet there's a lot of debate on that. I bet it would be very close on what people's opinions are. Size doesn't matter, but doesn't matter. It's still a planet. Well, one of the reasons why they don't consider it a planet, basically why they demoted it, is because it hasn't cleared the orbit of its neighbors. Basically, because Pluto has that eccentric orbit, it actually crosses the orbit of Neptune, and then crosses it again to get further out. So it hasn't actually cleared the orbit of Neptune, and that's one of the reasons, in addition to size, that they demoted Pluto. But anyway, so yeah, we're going back to the light speed communications. A lot of people, when we see a diagram of the solar system or things like that, we just think of the planets all in a straight line. Like it goes, the sun, then Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. They're just all in a straight line. But they're not. Like they never are. So the communication time from Earth to the Mars is going this way. Time from the sun to Earth is this way here. So there's some context to keep in mind there for relative communication distances. All right, let's go back to oh hey, there's Emily Calandrelli, my friend Emily Calandrelli at the Space Gale on Twitter and on TikTok. So you can check. She's a wonderful science communicator. So here's where we are. Here's where we are now. Again, we're 32 minutes now away from touchdown. 32 minutes. We're coming up on it. Cruise stage separation not until 17 minutes. When will we see the first picture? That's a good question, Lewis. I don't know exactly, but I expect it within just a few minutes after touchdown. Like usually they, when I say a few minutes, I don't know whether that's 10 minutes or like 60 minutes, but I'm expecting it like minutes after touchdown, not necessarily like days. So I expect it relatively soon after touchdown. Once it touches down, it's going to go through some checkouts. It's got to deploy the mast, and then one of the first things it does actually is take a photo. Usually, a lot of times it's a low resolution photo that we get first, just some sort of like picture to say like, yeah, here's where I ended up. Like, I'm not upside down. I'm not on my side. Like, I'm not on a big rock. Like, this is where I am. Just to be like, hey guys, I'm okay. We're here. So I expect that pretty soon. And then like stuff like the HD video, HD photos, I would expect later. Like that could be hours or even days later. I expect they'll do it pretty quickly though. Like they'll be working on it quickly because this is getting a lot of attention. When can we hear the Martian sounds? Oh, that's a good point there, Lucy. Lucy Connolly talking about the microphones on board. So in addition to the cameras and stuff, I totally forgot to mention all that, but there's also microphones on board that are going to capture like real audio during entry, descent, and landing, which will be pretty cool as well. So that's another pretty awesome thing. I imagine like the HD video and the audio, all that's going to kind of come together at the same point. So I think it's going to be, hours to, maybe the next day. Hopefully it's just a couple hours. That would be kind of cool. How long does it take to get to Mars from Earth? This trip here took 7 months. So this launched in July, and now it's just arriving now. There were actually 3 spacecraft that launched in July to get to Mars, and this is the 3rd one. The other 2 have already gotten there, but this is the one that launched on an Atlas V that NASA launched on the United Launch Alliance Atlas V back in July of 2020. And this is a live animated simulation, whatever we want, a pre-landing simulation, live positioning, relative sizes. So it's coming in quick. It's coming in at 9,025 miles per hour and speeding up. The Martian gravity is pulling it in. It's speeding up and going faster and faster until it starts to hit that atmosphere, and then it will slow down. So it's coming in fast. Now 9,050 miles per hour. You can see 25 miles per hour increase just in those few seconds there while we were talking about it, but it's coming in hot. What's the estimated time for today's landing? 3:55 Eastern Standard Time. So it's in about 28 minutes from now is when we're expecting landing. All the events start at about 17 minutes. So we're about 10 minutes away now from cruise stage separation. And you can see, if we look at the NASA EYES program here for the EDL, first thing coming up is cruise stage separation. That's coming up in just about 10 minutes from now. All right, let's see. Are they playing music?
Perseverance team keep the tradition alive this year.
Well, this year we're past.
Yeah, so they're still chatting. I like to show this while they're chatting it up. Once we get close and we start hearing some mission control audio. I mean, mission control, the interesting thing about the EDL team, like, there's not much they can do. Because again, if we look at the Deep Space Network here, we can see round trip time, 22 minutes. One-way time is about 11 minutes. Communication to Perseverance, which means when we receive the signal that says entry interface, meaning it's reached the Martian atmosphere and it's starting its descent, that happens 7 minutes prior to touchdown. But when we receive that, it will already be it'll already be on the surface in one piece or many pieces. We just won't know about it yet. Because it takes 11 minutes for that signal to get from the spacecraft back to us here on Earth. And when we receive that 7-minute notification that says, hey, I'm at the top of the atmosphere, it's already down. But the timeline that I have up here, the one that's going to show over there, that is counting down to the time when we're going to receive the signal. Not the actual landing, because it doesn't really do us much. I mean, we want to know, like, when can we celebrate? And that's what we're doing here with this timeline. We'll be able to celebrate or cry in 26 minutes. That's when we'll know. That's what everybody wants to know, is when will we know? 26 minutes is when we'll know. Give or take a couple seconds. We don't know. It might not be exactly at 000, but in roughly 26 minutes. That's when we'll know. We'll know if we made it, or if the space lobster created a problem for us.
Space lobster ate the T-Teb. That's the answer.
That's not the answer, Tim. That's not what we want. Tell the space lobster to stay out of here. We don't need space lobster today. How big is the rover? It's about the size of a small SUV. It's pretty big. Let's see, do I have I have so many videos and things that we could show. Let me see. See if I have one that shows the relative size. I suppose we could show. So this is kind of cool to see too. Is the supersonic parachutes? Here is it's that parachute or that spacecraft is coming in. When that parachute deploys, it's about Mach 1.7. So it is screaming in. And there's so many things that they have to test before they're ready. So the spacecraft, if you think about it, it's got, once the team has assembled it, it's got to survive transport to the launch site. It's got to survive being put on top of the rocket. It's got to survive launch and the vibration and shakes and everything else from launch. It's got to survive all the stage separations from launch. It's got to survive in space with crazy amounts of, crazy cold temperatures and radiation and all that kind of stuff. And it's got to survive that for 7 months. Then it has to survive all the shakes and vibrations and heat of re-entry and this supersonic parachute coming out at Mach 1.7. That's how fast the spacecraft will be traveling when the parachute comes out. Then it has to survive the descent stage, the rockets there, and then touchdown, obviously, with lots of dust being kicked up and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously they're trying to reduce the dust with the sky crane, but it's a lot of things that. There's a lot of ways it can go wrong, and only one way it can go right. That's the trouble here. That's the trouble with anything in space. A lot of things can go wrong. There's only one way it can go right. So I'm making myself nervous by talking about this. All right, this is not, oh, there you go. So this is showing, this is one of the upgrades here compared to Curiosity is the actual wheels. So the wheels are a bit of an upgrade. They're bigger wheels. The treads in between the wheels are smaller gaps so that it doesn't get stuck. Obviously, we don't want to see it get stuck on Mars like Curiosity did way back in 2014. So that's one of the things they changed is the wheels from Curiosity to Perseverance. Perseverance is a very close replica of Curiosity. A couple different instruments, but the body itself is very similar. They actually even used spare parts on Perseverance that were made for Curiosity. So, let's see, what else have we got? What effect does the lack of gravity have on Mars? You mentioned how the thinner atmosphere creates the challenges, but does the lower gravity counteract this somewhat? So that's from Reese Dickinson. I mean the lack of gravity is it's not going to have a huge effect here on entry, descent, and landing because the relative speed that it's coming in is still very, very fast. So it will, the lower gravity prevent, so right now it is speeding up. So gravity is essentially like creating acceleration. It's causing it to speed up right now. It's pulling it in. It's just pulling it in slower than it would if it had a higher amount of gravity here. So the, getting off the planet would be an easier job on Mars than getting off planet Earth. But for entry, descent, and landing, you still have to eliminate all that speed that it has right now. And the lack of gravity isn't going to help you eliminate that speed. It's just not going to introduce more, higher speeds. So yeah, I guess the answer kind of yes and no. It helps a little bit, but it's still, the majority of the work is during that entry interface where the heat shield is taking away 90+% of the energy. You've still got that supersonic parachute that can help slow things down. And then you've got the actual descent stage itself with the rockets. So a lot of energy that has to be dissipated. And this, so Manny mentioned a question on Facebook, which I'm sorry, Manny, but I'm not going to read your question, but I do want to address the topic of your question, which essentially is, we're coming up. I'm going to address this one time because we're getting close to, let me just address this real quick before we switch over to the NASA feed. But the question really is, why are we spending all this money to send a rover to Mars when we've got issues that are happening here on Earth? And it comes down to a bunch of things. I mean, one, there's some national pride. Two, it's a jobs program for people here on Earth. Three, there's stuff being developed for NASA missions, whether that's Mars missions or moon missions or the space station, that we can use here on Earth, that we would not have had a reason to develop otherwise. So this technology has applications here on Earth, and that's a lot of the stuff that goes into this. So just because it's on a faraway planet doesn't mean it's not useful for the rest of us that are still here on Earth. I want to go into that more in detail, but I didn't realize how close we were to cruise stage separation. So I'm going to try to turn this up so we can at least
anchor is complete.
Listen in now.
We will see the next anchor in approximately 3 minutes.
Because now we're getting down to crunch time.
We are currently 12.5 minutes from entry interface. We are coming upon cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
What's happening now, Rob?
Okay, well, we're just waiting. The rover is completely in charge. It's doing all the things we've taught it how to do. It's all built into the software. We've tested it over and over and over again. This team has spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, testing this thing for years. And so this is really the culmination of all that work. So this vehicle is getting ready to push that cruise stage away. Once it gets pushed away, the entry system with the rover inside, with the rover still in charge, is going to get ready to take the vehicle, turn it to the right orientation, and aim it to Mars, and prepare for entering the atmosphere. This won't be long.
We should be coming up on cruise.
Be prepared for this event.
We're about 1.5 minutes from cruise stage separation. About 11 minutes, 20 seconds from entry interface.
Okay, so it's about 10 minutes from cruise stage separation till entering the top of the atmosphere. From then on and out, things happen
We're
fast.
switching to the MFSK tones. Telemetry will have stopped.
Telecom is confirming that the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive real-time information until about 9-10 minutes from now, once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter starts relaying information from Perseverance. We are under a minute from cruise stage separation, about 10.5 minutes from entry interface.
All right, so here's the point where I would say, now we're getting into it. So share this with your friends. Anybody that wasn't interested, tell them to get in here. We're going to land on Mars today. Go Percy, let's do it. Give me a go Percy in chat. Let's land this thing. Come on.
We're continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation.
That's it. That should be cruise stage separation right there.
Yes. We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft.
Yes. Here we go. Step 1 is up. Come on, Percy.
We're off on a good start.
In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, so now the vehicle's on its own. It's turning itself into the direction of facing the heat shield toward Mars, and will eventually hitting the top of the atmosphere. We're not far away. This is going to go very quickly from here on out.
We're only 15 minutes away now.
I have confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
So that's basically...
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating the cruise stage separation. We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun.
So it's warming up the thrusters. It's going to need those during...
At this point,
during
the
entry?
spacecraft is trying to stop its spin from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masses that has kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude.
I don't know why the audio is so
We're about 7.5
ratty.
minutes from entry interface.
Atmospheric entries in...
Okay, the vehicle is pointed in the right direction. The thrusters are warmed up and doing their job. And now we've spun down from the 2 revolutions per minute that the vehicle had the whole way to...
Oh, hold on, I'm gonna refresh this here because...
And can control its
ratty. I don't know if that's
orientation
on
and
my
attitude
end.
via rockets on the back of that back shell.
Points carrier lock. Sorry, the DTE from Radio Science from Green Bank reports carrier lock. You see the carrier on the downlink.
I'm gonna update the clock here because we're...
Flight level 1.
7:10 from entry interface.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
I'm trying to give you my best guess on the timeline of events here.
Okay, and now we wait.
So this is pretty much the major events are not going to happen until entry interface. So now we're about 6 minutes away from entry interface. This is at this point, the vehicle is ready to enter. The cruise stage has jettisoned. It's just...
We're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry...
We lost... No! We lost audio. What happened? Oh.
The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and stream...
Oh, man.
...by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events. By the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events. We should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout
Oh, come on. Come on,
when
YouTube.
The signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Okay.
So here, at this point, remember I said it's 11 minutes and 22 seconds communication time between here and Mars. At this point, We're 11 minutes away from touchdown. It's landed one way or another. We don't really know yet.
And waiting for to hear from our rover.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight Local 1
from entry interface.
So it's over. We just don't know yet.
We don't need these ones and zeros, as Swati said, but to land safely. But we really need it for our own health and well-being today, to keep our nerves under control. But
around this time, a second spacecraft, MAVEN, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing, as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Very soon we'll be getting ones and zeros, I hope, from our radio on the rover.
It's weird to think that it's already over, and we just don't know about it yet.
The entry interface is nothing more than just an arbitrary place in the sky that we've defined to be above the atmosphere. But from that point on, there's definitely atmosphere, and above it there isn't.
We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
So the tones can tell us whether something is bad or not is happening. So far the heartbeat is doing well. So the vehicle thinks it's in good shape to land, which is a great sign.
Come on. Come on, here we go. All right. We're 2 minutes to entry interface. This is where the 7 minutes of terror starts.
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going
Oh, come on.
just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry. We are 1 minute from entry interface.
1 minute. 1 minute from entry interface. This is where the 7 minutes of terror starts. Can we do it? Tell your friends to get in here.
We have confirmation that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars.
Confirm UHF data flow.
Oh, man. The buffering is killing me. Why is it buffering? I'm trying to make sure I have nothing. Make sure it's not on my end. I don't think this is on my end.
Entry.
We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Here we go. Entry interface.
The spacecraft is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere of Mars to slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target. Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule. Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
Okay, this is guidance start, so it's going to start. It's basically flying at this point. It's flying like an aircraft, using thrusters, using its lift.
MRO has lost log.
Perseverance. We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
10 Earth
MRO
Gs.
has lock again.
I think that's less than Curiosity. I think Curiosity was like 11 to 12 Earth Gs.
We saw a small outage of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak heating phase, likely caused by the plasma blackout. Perseverance is still continuing to perform bank reversals in the atmosphere to control its distance to the landing target.
Heading alignment, it's trying to make sure that it's on the right course.
Perseverance is going about 1 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target.
Parachute.
Everybody watching, we need parachute, or straight up and fly right. Is going to be the next thing, called SUFR, straight up and fly right. Parachutes should be deploying soon.
Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
MRO is reporting good telemetry log.
We are coming upon the straighten up. We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Yes.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
That's parachute deployment. Come on. Parachutes. We got a parachute. A parachute. Not parachutes. One parachute.
Yes.
Perseverance has now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Guess I'm gonna. Oh, we don't need this up there anymore. Get rid of that. Don't want any verifying of any kaboom. Next, it's going to be heat shield separation.
Yes.
Perseverance
Yeah.
now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
Do we have it?
Almost there.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Here we go. Now comes the hard part.
We have timing of the landing engines.
Landing engines. We should be coming up.
Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Here we go. Here we go.
We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
Come on.
Safety Bravo.
Land it.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars.
Come on, baby.
We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct-to-earth tones.
As expected.
That's expected. Okay. Okay.
Sky
All
crane
right.
maneuver has started,
What do we have?
about 20 meters off the surface.
Put it down. Set her down. Come on. Set her down.
We're getting signals from MRO.
Touchdown. Touchdown.
UHF is good.
Touchdown. Touchdown. Come on.
Touchdown confirmed.
Yeah!
Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars.
Touchdown!
Ready to begin seeking the sands of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance. Perseverance is continuing to transmit direct through Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Earth.
She made it. That away, Percy. I knew you could do it.
Oh my God. Oh.
All right.
Our reports, they're still getting telemetry from the lander.
Yes.
All right, all stations.
We got it.
Touchdown confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
Wait for the images.
This is so exciting. The team is beside themselves. It's so surreal. Stay tuned. We might get some pictures.
That'd be great.
Let's get some pictures. That away, Purse.
So much has been riding on this.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
just
so
heard
awesome.
the news that Perseverance is
all
alive
right.
on the surface of Mars.
There's so many songs that I wish I could play, and I had the rights, the copyright rights to play.
The completion of EDL 3000. Copy activity. That is as expected.
All right.
Still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
We have just heard the news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars. Congratulations to the mission. And looks like we have some more news in. It looks like we're getting the first image.
Pictures! Show me pictures!
Here, take a look at the first image.
Right, it's so tiny.
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready. We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
Oh, I see pictures. I see them. Show them to us. Full screen. Full screen it. I see them. Come on.
Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
Yeah. Look at that.
Just put the first image from Perseverance on the surface of Mars. Now, it comes from the engineering cameras known as the hazard camera. This camera is mainly used to help the rover drive safely around Mars, and we will get higher resolution photos later in the day.
Let's go. Let's.
Look at that, right?
Yeah.
Let's see our engine.
Nice. This is amazing.
That was awesome. I don't even know what to say anymore at this point.
Stand by for Steve.
You did. You led the team. You made it happen.
All right. Well, so I guess we're gonna find out here shortly, like where it specifically landed. I'm not expecting anything like audio or video for a while, like HD video or anything like that. But I do want to know, like, specifically where in the Jezero crater it landed. Remember, we had a margin of error here.
Image in. Our second image.
Oh, another image.
in.
We got another image.
Okay, these we have a camera in the front and rear of the spacecraft. It's
like my computer.
They're near the ground, so these are pretty close. So you can see the wheels there, and they're a little dirty because we've got glass covers over these cameras. But we took these seconds after landing, so there's still dust in the air from our landing event. So this is happening. This happened just seconds ago. Just arrived. And this is really amazing.
Now what? Now what?
And we even know where we landed. This is the most amazing thing. The vehicle has told us where it's landed because it figured it out.
Tell us.
This is a sign. NASA works. NASA works.
And
we put our arms together,
and tell me where it landed.
Together, and our brains together, we can succeed. This is what NASA does. This is what we can do as a country. On all of the problems we have, we need to work together to do these kinds of things and make success happen.
So I saw a couple people talking about how it's a black and white camera. This is a hazards camera. It's not the main camera. These are just early initial photos.
Administrator of NASA, Steve Jurisic. Steve, welcome and congratulations.
Hey, thank you. What an amazing day.
How does it feel to have another rover on Mars?
All right, so I'm going to let him talk. If you want to listen to him talk, you can head over to the NASA TV channel, but I'm going to talk for a minute over the top of him. Obviously, our event list is done. We landed 7 minutes ago on the surface of Mars. It worked. The thing worked. It is so awesome. The second time we've done that, Curiosity did that, pretty much that same maneuver. This one had the new terrain relative navigation system, and the thing worked. That's awesome. That's so exciting. Now, so we got those initial photos in, black and white, low resolution, nothing big. It's just to let us know, like, hey, it's here, it's right side up, like it's where it's supposed to be. Now it'll send back HD video, HD photos, color photos, audio. We're gonna get all that. It takes some time. The highest speed radio we have is 2 megabits per second, which I can't even live stream with 2 megabits per second. Like that's not very fast of a bit rate. So we gotta wait for some of the juicier stuff here on as far as like photos and videos. So. And they should be coming soon. Like I'm actually very impressed at how quickly we got photos like that initial photo. Kind of fascinating how it was just like, boom, first photo, here you go. So yeah. Let's see. I just saw a super chat fly by. Fabrizio Michele. Thanks, Fabrizio. Appreciate the super chat. Thanks for your support. I don't see it. There was no comment here. I didn't see. Oh, no. But thank you, Fabrizio. Oh, that was so nerve-wracking. Was anybody else like hearts racing, or is it just me? Will you be on all day? No, I'm probably gonna wrap up here shortly. We'll hang out for a little bit, but we're probably gonna wrap up soon. I was waiting to see if they're gonna show us any other photos or anything like that, but we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up soon to see and move on. Not just you. Stevie Jones is buzzing. Now what? Says Kaylee. Well, now we just gotta wait. Now the science starts. It's awesome. The shirt is clutch, says Kristen on Periscope. It's the good luck shirt. I'm telling you, everybody loves it. No, I shouldn't say everybody loves it. Some people hate it. I love it, and that's the important thing. I bring out the shirt for special occasions. Let's see. I just missed it. It scrolled off the screen. Somebody said they teared up. That's good. Anybody else tear up? That was Dak. Dak teared up a bit. Awesome accomplishment. Love the shirt, says Carlos. Thank you. I know some people hate the shirt. I see it in the YouTube comments all the time. If you hate the shirt, I don't care. I like it. And I am confident enough in myself that I can wear an obnoxious shirt and still feel great. Excellent. Can't wait to see what happens next, says David. David's one of our supporters over on Facebook. Thank you, David. David Boone. I should learn how to say your last name, David, but Boone? I will just say David B. How's that? Where can you get that shirt? I don't know. It was a gift to me. So I can't help you with that. Let's see. You said it'll take some time to show us photos, but you also said the first photo, black and white, came very fast. I think something's going on here. Do you agree? Well, no, I don't agree. I expected photos initially, but I expected actually photos pretty quickly. The ones that we got, they were faster than I expected, but I was expecting to see photos like within 5 minutes or so. I mean, we got them in like 30 seconds. So when I say that they were faster than I expected, it's like they came in like 30 seconds instead of 5 minutes. So those initial photos are expected. It's the HD stuff, the bigger color HD photos and videos and audio, that kind of stuff's going to take a while because it's bigger files, takes longer to transfer that stuff. And we only got a 2 megabit per second bit rate, so. Nico. Wow, Nico. Thanks for the super chat, Nico. That's super generous of you. Thank you very much. Thanks for the chat. Sent over, looks like a dude riding a rocket. It's a super sticker, technically. Let's see, Managard. One of our Patreon supporters. Thanks, Managard. I'm still crying, and I need a nap. Great stream as always. So thanks, Managard. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for being a Patreon supporter. Really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I got a little teary-eyed. And I'm okay saying that. It was exciting. Oh, here's
This is Sophia's video.
Oh, they're okay. They're doing like kid videos and things like that. I'll just leave that in the corner while they're doing those. I thought we were getting more pictures. Let's see. Marco Tasic sent over a what's that? A tumbler glass. Thanks, Marco. Marco's ready to celebrate. I only have Gatorade, so cheers to everybody and cheers to everybody watching with my last bit of Gatorade that I have. And now I'm out, so should have brought another one. Let's see, Kevin Negronlian. Hopefully I said that right. That was a shot in the dark at that one. But Kevin, have a great day, dude. And trust me, I was nervous and excited too. Cheers to great things to come from perseverance in the future of Mars exploration. Well said, Kevin. I agree. That was exciting. I'm excited. Like, this is just the beginning too. Like, we've got all the exploration happening. The photos and the video capabilities on this thing are going to be awesome. The audio, like, we haven't even seen all that. This is just the part where we're like, yes, it landed, it worked, it's not in 1,000 pieces. Hooray! Like, now we've got some real exciting stuff coming. Woo-wee! Yeah, I'm so excited. Oh gosh! All right, George Watts, thanks for the super chat, George. Appreciate your support. Lim, one of our YouTube channel members, Lim, said, touchdown confirmed, go NASA, go Team Space. Absolutely. Thanks, Lim. Touchdown confirmed. Yeah. It's so awesome that it worked. Let's see. Axel Cuevas Perez. Man, you guys are challenging my pronunciations here. Let's go Mars. Thanks, Axel. Let's go Mars. Here we go. Right. Oh, man. I'm still pumped from this. Angel Asensio. Oh, wow, Angel. That's super generous of you. Thanks for the super chat, Angel. That's really nice. Thanks again for everything, especially that you had the right date and reminder yesterday when I got confused by the false alarm of the landing 24 hours off. Oh, just because I posted it early to say, like, hey, it's tomorrow. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us here today, Angel. And thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate it. It all goes because Overlook Horizons, a 501c3 nonprofit. I get none of this. It all goes right back to the channel, helps us make videos, helps us do our weather balloon flights when we get back to that, when things are safer in the world now. Helps us spread the love of science. And Ronaldo Mendez says, I love your shirt. It doesn't go to shirts. I buy those myself. It's a pretty cool shirt, though. Thanks, Mendez. Who was it? What is it? Ronaldo Mendez. Does Starship have an abort system? No. Nope. I mean, it could potentially abort from the Super Heavy booster, but there's no abort in that itself. Bruce Frankie with 1,000 Facebook stars. Thanks, Bruce. I'm still very new to that. And I think there's a way that I can see your comment, but I don't. Got some rock music going on here. Let's see. Bruce says, thanks for all the great coverage. I really enjoyed it. Yes, science. Absolutely. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks for your support. Amy sent over 150 Facebook stars. Thanks for sharing your enthusiasm. I just can't contain myself. I can't help it, but I'm glad you guys are having fun along with me. Oh, all right. What else do we have for questions before we wrap up? Well, I don't know if we're going to wrap up we'll hang out for just a minute because we're waiting to see if there's any more photos.
And get the samples and do other technology.
Yeah, nothing else yet. I'm kind of just waiting to see if there's any more here. Jamie Wheatley, totally got teary-eyed too. Such an exciting event. Love watching this with you. Well, I'm glad you were all here with me. This was fun. Man, I was amped up at landing. Now I can't sleep. Said, who was that? I just missed it. Now I can't sleep, said Ronald Pang. Morton Olson sent over 50 Facebook stars. Thank you very much, Morton, for your supports. Congrats, says Deanne Cano. Cano. Go NASA, go Perseverance. What's the rover's objective? Well, there's a couple of objectives on there. Remember, we've got the helicopter. I closed a lot of these things when I was trying to sort out why it was lagging so much. But we've got the helicopter, which actually looks like they're showing now here. So good time to talk about it with the helicopter. But they've got the Ingenuity helicopter, which is going to demonstrate the first flight on Mars, which is pretty awesome capability. So that's going to have a 30-day mission to demonstrate that it's possible to fly an autonomous aircraft on Mars. Completely autonomous, has cameras on it. It's going to do 5 flights for 3 minutes each over 30 days. And so that's one objective. They also have the MOXIE experiment, which is trying to generate oxygen from the mostly carbon dioxide environment on Mars, so that future humans can have oxygen for breathing or for sending spacecraft back to Earth, because you're going to need oxygen for that too. So that's the MOXIE experiment. And then one of the biggest things, it's going to be drilling into rock, especially in the Jezero crater area. Remember, we landed in the Jezero crater here, which 3.5 billion years ago, they believe was just a giant lake, like water lake, with an inlet here, right? Looks like a river. You got this inlet, you got this delta area where sediment has deposited and built up, so you could have some fossilized microorganisms in there, and so they're looking for potential evidence of life right here in this delta area, particularly because it's an inlet for this potential lake. Like, that could be rich in fossils or evidence of past life forms. And then, of course, my favorite one is the helicopter. Let's see, 5 flights for 3 minutes. Is that like opportunities 90 days? Yeah, they're pretty short. So they're just 3 because it's a demonstration. Like, they've never done this before. So it's only 5 flights, 3 minutes each. So the thing's going to fly for 15 minutes total. And it's going to do that over 30 days. And that's the end of the mission for the helicopter. Might they expand it? Maybe. I don't think it'll expand that much because the rover, which is going to be monitoring it with cameras, is going to move on and do more of its mission. So maybe they might squeeze an extra flight or 2 out of it. I don't think it'll get a long-term extension, but we'll have to see. It's supposed to do at least 5 flights for 3 minutes each. Will they launch another rover soon? Not anytime real soon. Remember, we can only do this once every 2 years when Earth and Mars line up. And I don't think we have another, at least not NASA, have another one planned at the next alignment. Could it fly into the rover when it moves? I mean, theoretically it could, but hopefully not. What's the life expectancy with the nuclear power? Well, the life expectancy of the rover is 3 years. But the nuclear power should be capable of lasting longer than that. I mean, it could potentially go 7, 8 plus years. But the mission expectancy is 3 years. That's all they're really trying to get out of it. That's what they need to get out of it to justify the mission is 3 years. But like most of the things, it could go longer. Has it landed yet? Did we miss it? Yes, it landed. Yes, you missed it. It's done now. Do I even have... Yeah, we've got... I don't know why it's like sideways. There we go. That's better. So yeah, now we're into surface operations here now. It's done. It's on the ground. Let's see. What is this view? No, I don't need that view. We'll leave it right there. Shouldn't the next mission be the sample collection mission? The weird thing about the sample collection, this is the part that confuses me, is there isn't a NASA planned sample collection. ESA, the European Space Agency, is potentially planning a sample collection mission, but that wouldn't get there until like the late 2020s. And then it wouldn't potentially get samples and return them back to Earth until like mid-2030s, which is that's the confusing thing about the sample collection bit to me, because by that point, we might be sending humans there to just look at the samples on site instead of sending them back. So, I don't know. They're doing the sample collection. There isn't a real solid plan to get them back. They've got that ESA mission that might bring them back someday, but I don't know. I don't know why they would do that if we're going to send humans there. Hopefully we do. So, I mean, it is good to get the sample collection now. Potentially, then you have samples that are not contaminated by humans and all the stuff that we send there. That's good. So, can we go to Mars soon? What year? They're working on it. We don't know. Maybe by 2030s, that would be nice. Maybe sooner, if Starship development keeps plowing ahead. Kathy says, you're awesome. Greetings from Ireland. Well, thanks, Kathy. You're awesome. Appreciate it. I want to know how we got a picture from Mars in a minute. Someone explain, please. Well, I guess I'm not sure I understand. So, the communication time from Mars to Earth is 11 minutes. But remember, all the telemetry we were receiving was 11 minutes behind. So by the time we got the signal that said it landed, it was already sitting there on the surface for 11 minutes. So it's really hard to think about that time delay, because when we got the picture, when we got the notification that it landed, let's see, how do I want to explain this? When we got the notification that it landed, the picture that was coming was already was already sent. We just hadn't received the whole thing yet. So, I mean, that's one of the first things that it does. And it's a low resolution picture, so a small data file. It's using the UHF radio, which is 2 megabits per second. It's pretty, I mean, if you got 2 megabits per second, you can upload a picture on your computer in just a few seconds. So it's not unusual to get a picture within just a few seconds of receiving that landing signal. So, right, yeah, so as Russell said, I don't know how to, I'm struggling to try to explain this well, but as Russell said, when it landed, it took a picture, and then it took 11 minutes to get here, just like the telemetry confirmation, which is true. Telemetry confirmation took 11 minutes, the picture took 11 minutes, but it's just that, like we received confirmation, the rover doesn't wait until we receive confirmation before it sends it. It had already sent it. We just hadn't received it yet, so. I'm going to take my headphones out for a minute because they're all twisted in the back here, and I don't know what's happening. They're pulling out of my ears. All right, let's get to a couple more, and then we're going to call it a day here in just a bit. Before I fight with my headphones. All my technology today has been failing me. Two megabits per second is not direct to Earth. Yes, you are correct. That is true. We should make that 2 megabits per second is generally a relay speed to, I think the 2 megabits per second is from the rover up to like the Odyssey or the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. And then that has to transmit it back to Earth. So yeah, it's probably not a great. We probably should put an asterisk. I don't know how to say that word. You know what I'm trying to say. We'll put a little thingy next to it when I say 2 megabits per second. Can you show the picture? Yeah, well, let's see. Can we do a full screen picture yet? Let me see. Maybe somebody on our Discord. Does somebody have the full screen picture on Discord? Let's see. I'm looking to see if anybody snagged a copy of that picture. There we go. Foxabilo has it on our Discord. Let me open that up. Let's zoom in. So here was the first photo. One of the first photos. This might be the second photo. But one of the first photos from the surface of Mars. This is crazy. Craziness. Let's see. Here's another one. Let's do this. We got this one right here. There's another one. So that's that. I think this is the first one we got. The other one was the second picture. But here's the first picture. This is fantastic. All right, well, now what do they got going? They got like a rock concert going on. I don't know what that's all about. Interesting. Okay, well, we're gonna go back to my photo. Will it take a selfie? Yes. So it has to deploy the big mast with the camera and stuff. It's got to do that. It'll take some time. It's gonna do. It'll do some checkouts. Does Mars have day and night? Yes, of course. The Mars orbit revolves around itself just like all the other planets, so it does have day and night. Did it deorbitate? Yes, as a matter of fact, it did deorbitate. It did deorbitate. Deorbitate. It's gonna deorbitate. Yeah, it already did deorbitate, so. All right, when's the next 2-Minute Tuesday? Yeah, well, things have been kind of busy for me the last couple of weeks, so hopefully I can get back to making videos probably next week. We might make a video about this. Depends on when they might put out some video footage. I'm gonna keep an eye out for that. What's the temperature on Mars? The average temperature on Mars is like negative 60, what did we say? Negative 64. And that's Fahrenheit. And that's negative 53 Celsius. Is that right? And let's see, the Mars nighttime temperature, I think it's even cold. So that's the average temperature. The Mars nighttime, let's see, a summer day on Mars can get up to 70 degrees near the equator. But at night, the temperatures plummet to minus 100 degrees. That's Fahrenheit. So that would be 20 to minus 73 Celsius. So a lot of big temperature swings on Mars. But average temperature is negative 64 Fahrenheit, negative 53 Celsius. I think that's the right conversion. All right, let's see what else we've got. How long are the days and nights? Actually, they're very similar to Earth. Mars rotates almost the same amount of time as Earth. I think it's like just over 24 hours is a Martian day. But obviously we're like 23.9 something, or was it? No, 24. What are we here on Earth? What's the Earth rotation? Isn't it just over or just under 24 hours? Now I'm drawing a blank. See, this is what happens when you try to think and live stream at the same time. 23 point, yeah, there you go. So I had it right the first time. I started doubting myself. 23.93 hours is the Earth rotation. Started doubting myself. All right, well, I think we pretty much covered it all. That was, and I don't think they have anything. Yeah, NASA's done. Everybody's done. We'll take one more peek at the Perseverance rover on the surface of Mars. I reckon it'll take a minute to send all the footage there to Earth. Yep, takes at least 11 minutes to just for speed of light transmit time. But then, of course, you can only send so much data per second. So it will take some time. Callum Jones. Hi, Tori. I'm a big fan. I wish I could donate or become a member, but my parents don't let me. All the best and can't wait for the next live. You know what, Callum? Don't worry about it. It's all right. I'm glad you're here. That's the important thing. It's not, I mean, it's all that stuff is secondary. Primarily, just come hang out with us. Be friends. Maybe consider joining the Discord. You can chat it up with us. All those things are free. Don't worry about that other stuff. The memberships and things like that. That's all secondary. Don't worry about it. It's just being here. Being here is a lot of fun, too. Graham says, the parents just don't understand. That's all right. That's all right. I understand. Parents don't want to pay just for some random YouTuber. That's okay. No, that's no problem. I get it. I think I probably might do the same thing for my kids. All right. Well, I think at this point, we ought to wrap up. We had a successful day. Perseverance landed, that is just awesome. I shouldn't hit the button anymore. I know we have kids here. I didn't say anything. I like to hit the button. That's probably what it sounded like, the signal coming back from Mars. Okay, probably annoying everybody. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap up. Now I'm just killing time because I'm just having fun. You know I have way too much fun doing this. All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. Consider joining us on Discord to continue the conversation. We'll be back again shortly in a couple of days, hopefully, maybe for SN10 to fly. That'll be kind of exciting. And I'm sure we'll be back with more videos here soon, now that I had a lot of stuff going on the last couple of weeks, but that should be wrapping up here in another day or two. Then we'll be back to regular videos. So that's it for me. I'll see you guys on Discord. We'll maybe see you next time. But my name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. This is a lot of fun. We landed. We landed on Mars. Yeah. Go Percy. See you guys next time. Goodbye.
Thank you.